What's the difference between a satire, a spoof or parody, and a farce? Though they all show us an exaggerated mirror, that's where the similarities end. Welcome back to FOMO Fix. I'm Sudhish Kamath, your guide to pop culture to help you make sense of the difference and the nuance. A satire is when you show how ridiculous Bollywood is. It's a critique. A parody or a spoof is when you make fun of one film with another, say called Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Cash, to roast it. It's a caricature. A farce goes beyond critique and caricature to capture the chaos of the entire system through exaggerated observational comedy and spares no one, including the creator himself. This week on Hype Check, I take a look at Aryan Khan's new show, The Bads of Bollywood, which is a true blue farce, now streaming on Netflix. It's a show most likely to be misunderstood if we disregard its farcical tone and genre. I'll be discussing more satire in this edition, recommending two other shows. One, The Chronicles of 4.5 Gang on Sony Live, which is a fantastic Malayalam gangster drama comedy, and the follow-up to The Office called The Paper, now streaming on JioStar. I also have the heads up on the Charlie Sheen Netflix documentary called AKA Charlie Sheen. Let's roll. Aryan Khan did not give any interviews before release and said that he would rather let his work speak. The Bads of Bollywood, now streaming on Netflix, speaks loud enough. It captures the complexities of his relationship with Bollywood as an insider, but I'm happy to report that his heart beats for the outsiders. The underdogs, the dinosaurs, the has-beens, the outcasts, the sidekicks, the background dancers, or the fatherless strugglers in this city of dreams. It's a show that's getting polarizing reviews, especially for its offensive adult content. Now let's take a closer look to see what is it that it's really saying by letting a farce play out. The Bads of Bollywood draws inspiration for drama and comedy from Farah Khan's Om Shanti Om and borrows the language and pitch from Akshat Verma's Delhi Belly. Aryan finds a middle ground to pitch this farce through some stretches that are in the Borat zone. Wicked, crass, dark, subversive, politically incorrect, offensive humor that will not sit well with the easily triggered and the easily offended. In the second episode, an argument between an obnoxious power-crazed producer and a woke woman production designer escalates after she paints the hero's room pink instead of blue. Gender norms are passé, she says. The producer is annoyed, he screams at her, he calls her a fatty, she quits, they pick a fight. She shoves him a few times, he says, "Don't touch me." She shoves him again and he kicks her. And the kick is straight out of a cartoon. A shocked sidekick asks, "How can you kick a woman? How can you kick a woman, sir?" At which point the obnoxious producer says, "Because I would never raise my hand on a woman." The joke could mean that the hero does not think the producer is a real man. Or if we want to be offended, we could take it to mean that he meant women as the weaker sex. But let's not forget that in a farce, the joke is on everyone, including the hero and the creator himself. Now, Sacha Baron Cohen in Borat talks about keeping his wife in a cage. He says, in Kazakhstan, it's not a mistake to beat your wife, it's encouraged. Now, we know that the joke is on the buffoon and the idiot saying this. We know the subject of the joke is Borat and the person saying this stuff, the buffoon or the clown who's not meant to be taken seriously. And Aryan is happy playing the clown. In 7 episodes, there are at least 2 moments where the directed by Aryan Khan title card appears as the punchline. One at the end of the first episode where a character says, "Say no to drugs," and another one at the end of the 6th episode where a young, privileged, entitled star kid brat is pleasuring himself, oblivious to the chaos of Bollywood unraveling around him. Aryan roasts himself on more than one occasion, his father, and the cameos, though some of them are wasted, including the one with Salman Khan. But what's surprising about the show is that it manages to hide that it's a full-blown farce till the big reveal and the twist in the final episode that reminds us that everything we saw happen, including the rom-com cliches of life imitating art, was the big joke. A punchline so good because it was hidden in plain sight, masked by special characters. The moments where it hides the farce, like establishing the bromance and the emotional beats of loss and heartbreak, scenes that have a lot of heart, make us forget that we are watching a farce. Earlier in the show, in response to A Star is Born, the hero says, "Born nahi sir, made." Aryan knows stars need to be made, not born. Another scene that introduces the heroine in slow motion with her hair flying around ends with her saying, "Bhaiya, pankha band kijiye." There's a lot of finely observed pot shots on privilege, like monitors being quickly moved to where the superstar sits, and another where a billionaire family reacts to a clip of their future daughter-in-law on TV. The girl's mom defends, "It's fake news." The billionaire shoots back, "It's my channel." The billionaire's son says, "We have a channel?" And the girl's brother says, "Where's my channel?" This show just knows how to stack up the jokes. There's also a finely observed modern day WTF moment, like the intimacy coach cancelled, he's going through a divorce. Or when an actor gets cast because he's rude, arrogant and pompous. Because normal is boring and sensation sells. Now Aryan knows the nature of sensation. A good writer is unafraid to share his vulnerabilities even in a farce. When a character says, "I'm not strong enough to face that kind of failure, so I can't fail," we hear Aryan. With the help of fellow creators and co-writers Bilal Siddiqui and Manav Chauhan, Aaryan Khan has put together a terrific motley crew of characters where even the secondary characters shine. Including a secondary character who, when left out of the car heading to the climax, screams in protest, "Hey, I'm not a effing side character. I remember you DJ Adam, I remember you Gigi Boy, I remember you Shomik, not just Asman, Parvez, Sanya, Ajay and Karishma Talwar." Laksh, Raghav Juyal, Anya Sharma, Seher Bamba, Manoj Pawa, Bobby Deol, Manish Chaudhary, Mona Singh, they all make the most of their roles. Karan Johar, Rajat Bedi, Arshad Warsi have extended cameos, characters that are so much fun that the star-studded cameos pale in comparison. The Bads of Bollywood marks the arrival of a smart, funny, uncompromising, assured new voice, one that loves and hates Bollywood cliches, roasts and romanticizes the dream factory in equal measure, full of zingers and twists. The political incorrectness, irreverence and adult humor may make it tricky for family viewing, but this show is destined for cult status thanks to its laugh out loud moments and the brave choices in the final episode. A show is unafraid and a star is made. Congratulations, Aryan Khan. The 4.5 gang from the Chronicles of 4.5 Gang has 4 men and a dwarf. As a ghostwriter listens to a gangster narrating his story, he tries to make sense of the name. Maybe we can make it a family thing. Maybe your father was also a part of a 4.5 gang? No, says the gangster. He had only 3 other accomplices. So then he says, "Didn't you say there's a dog?" He's saying, "No. But let's add a dog so that we can make it 4.5 gang. We can make it look like it runs in the family." And he says, "Are you really comparing a short person with a dog?" And the writer responds, "Do you want political correctness or do you want entertainment?" This exchange for me sums up the Chronicles of 4.5 Gang. My pick and TV Gold for this edition. The Chronicles of 4.5 Gang, created by Krishand, now streaming on Sony Live, is hilarious because it acknowledges the gangster story cliches, romanticizing crime, whitewashing villains, and weaponizes them for comedy. The gangster brags about small-time scams like skimming milk or monopolizing the flower business, while the ghostwriter keeps reframing them for larger mainstream appeal. So it becomes a show about storytelling itself. Revisionism, exaggeration, the push and pull between truth and myth, familiar tropes, the father-son conflict, the descent into crime are constantly undercut by absurd details and self-aware commentary. The tension between fact and fiction fuels both the laughs and the narrative. If you're still not convinced, here's the kicker. Shanti Balachandran, the co-writer of Loka, plays the hero's love interest here. With Loka and now the Chronicles of 4.5 Gang, the Malayalis are ruling the big screen and the small this season. Ricky Gervais must love the American version of The Office quite a lot because of how rich it has made him and continues to do so. The American version of The Office just got a spin-off called The Paper. Streaming on JioStar, The Paper brings the joys of workplace comedy back again. It's one of the best pivots in recent pop culture history as the makers decide to shift focus from the backdrop, which is The Office, to the subject, the paper. Dunder Mifflin, the paper company from The Office, is now acquired by a group that sells toilet papers and runs a newspaper called the Toledo Truth Teller, because it's all the same to them. So right from the opening credits that show newspapers used for packaging food to being discarded as trash to be recycled, we see that this pivot is political. The paper plays out as a satire on what's happening to journalism, where high school bloggers get more readers than an actual newspaper. A loud, attention-hungry managing editor hijacks the in memoriam section at the local journalism awards show to launch into an awful improvised song titled Sad Dead Journalists towards the end, much to the shock of the audience. And we laugh out loud not just because this is the kind of exaggerated humor that The Office served up, but also because this time it's too close to the truth of how little people care for journalism in a post-truth world, where truth is not just stranger, but a stranger. Just another feed we scroll past, caught up in the clutter of our lives. The Bads of Bollywood, the Chronicles of 4.5 Gang, and The Paper were three different, innovative ways to tell stories about stories to make us laugh. One was a farce, another was a gangster drama with satire, and the third was a straight-faced mockumentary, which was also a full-on satire. And then there's Charlie Sheen's Netflix documentary, aka Charlie Sheen, that tells the story straight from the horse's mouth as it happened, piecing the narrative together through all those who had a ringside view of the train wreck of his life. His closest childhood friends, fellow actors, collaborators from 2.5 Men, including Chuck Lorre, who killed his character off as a joke in the show, his wives, children, the woman who supplied him with sex workers, his ex-drug dealer, everyone. We do miss his father Martin Sheen's absence from this documentary. He refused to participate. But it's easy to see why his own father didn't want to be a part of the story. The documentary is brutally candid. It doesn't try to build him up or break him down. It just lets the participants look back at the substance abuse and addiction that fundamentally changed who he used to be. So check this out for sure if you like train wrecks. If I'm talking softer and slower this time, it's because I read a comment that said that I project my voice too much. I read all your comments, keep the feedback coming. Until next time, this is Sudhish Kamath signing off from FOMO Fix for The Hindu. Goodbye.